Hello everyone, Scarlett back here with the next chapter of Tainted. And today it's going to be chapter 10, Nothing Like the Present. A few days later, Scott looks over at Kevin, who appears to be happier, a smile taking over his face and some of the brightness returning to his eyes. The fact that he hasn't heard from nor seen Bella again has clearly helped this new resurgence in him. Yet there is a concern in Scott that Kevin might lose himself once he realizes that there is still a long way to go on the road to recovery. But in the last day or so, Scott has seen this look take over Kevin, and that's probably because he has been talking to Sandra every day. And even though Sean believes that this is only happening because he's trying to forget about Bella, Scott believes it's happening because they shared a real connection, and even though he doesn't see it lasting for the rest of their lives, this is something that could definitely save Kevin. Kevin isn't really in need of saving, but he is in need of reawakening, something within to prove to himself that he's not what many believe him to be. And if he's going to have the desire to prove someone wrong, it will be Bella, who strongly believes that her spell on him will last a lifetime, if not longer. Over the years, his strong will and attitude have helped Kevin make it through many rough patches. His desire to constantly improve upon all the things he has done with his vision for the way that his life should be are things that can't be matched by many. There is something within him that craves to be the best at whatever he does. This is a product of what he was taught growing up. If you're not first, you're last. And there is always someone who is willing to outwork you if you don't want to put in the time and effort. There are a number of things he has used as motivation in the past, but this isn't about the past. It's about the future. But in order to achieve the desired future, he needs to mold this present into something worth fighting for. And it has to be worked on every second of every day. Humbled and shocked by the fact that Sandra wanted to keep talking to him, Kevin has decided to give it a shot with her. In the end, what does he really have to lose in getting to know someone? It could lead to two things. The first could be something serious between them, and the second, it would end badly. And if it ends in the second, he would never see her again, and he doesn't see the downside of trying to find out if that connection is true. Accepting that time isn't on his side anymore, as Father Time is undefeated in all aspects of life, Kevin decides that it might be best to live like Scott and he doesn't see the harm in living as if it were his last day on earth. And nothing will surprise him if it were to happen, because there is only so much a day can throw your way. And if tomorrow comes, there's something new to fight for or with. But until that moment arrives, there's no need to stress about something that hasn't happened yet. So he has lowered his guard ever so slightly, enough to let an outsider in and see if she can handle him without playing any games, knowing that there is always someone on the other side who wants to see you fall, suffer, or even die. He doesn't feel that to be the case with Sandra. She seems genuine, and the fact that she has beautiful blue eyes, which plays into his weakness for light-colored, soul-searing eyes, doesn't hurt. Kevin is back to working on himself without caring what happens the next day. Scott having convinced him to get back to the gym, since that used to be one of the things he used to enjoy and gave up on once he got into a long-term relationship. But without having to worry about that anymore, there's no reason why he shouldn't be doing things that he enjoys. And if it helps him improve his confidence in himself, then there's no harm in that. The fact that Kevin is getting out instead of staying home is great, because Bella truly did a number on him, and Scott worried that his friend wasn't going to be able to drag himself out of this. But Scott is gladly willing to admit that he was mistaken and would rather eat crow than to see Kevin slide down that path once more, because it wasn't a pretty sight the first go around. The strip clubs, alcohol, drugs, and so on. Scott knew that it had to end, and that's when he decided that it was best to seek vengeance on the ones who hurt them rather than to allow them to destroy them from the inside out. Not to be outdone, Scott is talking to two women who he views as potential partners if either or both don't work out the way that he wants. They can end up being another piece of their puzzle and figuring out who they are, because in the end, it never hurts to improve their skills and abilities and finding new ways to do things. Honestly, though, he's hoping deep down that it doesn't come to that because he does enjoy their company, and leaving them in a pile of ashes isn't on the list of things he would want to do with them. But then again, there's that side of him that doesn't mind exploring the darker side of life. And he knows that in the end, it's really about what happens with Sean and Kevin that can mark the path they will follow. It's something that brings a lot of excitement to Scott, who doesn't appear to be feeling as many of the down moments as Kevin has been up until the moment that Sandra walked into his life. Scott has learned to mask his emotions quite well, and there are still things that he hasn't even told Kevin, despite them getting close. It appears that there's still another level to their friendship that needs to be worked on, but they have time for that, and something in common, so the possibility is there to achieve the maximum level of friendship. Sean doesn't want to be excluded in the matchmaking, so he talks to this one woman who's a teacher and constantly flirts with him while he tries to have a drink at the bar. She heads there after school, dealing with the little brats all day, leaves a craving, something that can hit her strong and hard, deep within her soul. And Sean believes that he's that thing she needs. So he lets his intentions be known, that not wanting to be an official couple, but telling her that he wouldn't mind spending a lot of time with her because she's unlike anyone he's ever met. The way she pounds back the vodka shots and the fact that she's a school teacher really turns him on. At first she found it funny and didn't take him seriously, but now is strongly considering seeing him again since he has been talking to her for a long time and hasn't made a move on her until now. Talking to people who make them feel good about the future and themselves could be something that allows them to grow into the people they were meant to be and show them the way to transforming into something even greater than what they had originally hoped for. Their mutual desire to prove to themselves that it doesn't matter what others believe them to be is what keeps them marching forward with all the aches and pains that come with not doing things the easy way, but instead taking the road less traveled and doing things that can be taxing on their bodies and spirits. As long as they know that they are the best versions of themselves they can be, they feel that the end result will be the one they have been seeking and desiring for so long. So knowing this, what they want, they will do whatever it takes to ensure this reset doesn't end up like the previous attempts at a happy life with the wrong people, or situations that weren't okay for them to be in. This marks a new beginning for them all, and in hindsight, it appears that it has worked out for the best. Scott and Sean head over to see Kevin as they have heard from him, but haven't seen him since the whole goddess thing. Sean is concerned for Kevin's mental state as he hasn't been able to spend time with Kevin while Scott continues to constantly be around. Kevin plotting their next mission, Scott knows that dealing with PTSD is extremely hard, but at the same time, it is something that they can overcome. Do you think Kev will be happy to see us? Sean asks. I don't know about seeing you, but I know that when he sees me, we hang out, we party like it's 1999, Scott answers on a laugh. You really don't think he likes me? Sean asks. I never said that. Though Kev can be a little difficult at times, he does have a side of him that likes to be taken care of, even when he doesn't ask for it. He guards that piece of his life, though, because he views it as a weakness, given the way that he was raised. But there's something about him that brings people close to him, especially the crazies, because they sense that deep down there's a goodness to him that they can try to exploit. That's why I'm here, to ensure that no one takes advantage of my brother, and that includes you. And if that means taking you out because you turned out to be a snake, then so be it. And know that I'll do it without hesitation because in our family we take care of each other, Scott answers. I know I'm new to this, but I wouldn't think of hurting Kev, or you for that matter. I believe in the vision you guys have, and the fact that I was welcomed in with open arms is hard for me to turn my back on. I would never try to hurt either of you. There are so many other people out there that I wouldn't mind inflicting justice on, but the joke of it all is that that has never crossed my mind to include you guys on that list. But I know it will take time before you can trust me, if ever, Sean says, a note of sadness in his voice. Crap, man, why do you have to make me sound like a Dick, for wanting to make sure that my brother is safe. I know that if you had someone you cared about and there was an outsider joining the ranks, you would be a little on edge too. F man, I know that once you've been with us long enough and we pick up another stray, that you'll have the same thoughts as me. And Kev will be the one to talk us out of harming that poor effer because he saw something in him that will allow the family to effing grow even more. I swear, man, sometimes that vision of his gets annoying because there are times when killing someone will be so rewarding itself instead of having to train and deal with their crap. Scott replies. What the F do you mean? Sean asks. We're savages. Sean, sometimes it's necessary to let the beast out of the cage for a little fun. Kev likes to believe he's not one of these beasts, but he's one for sure. And that's why I'm drawn to him, because he's one of us, and I'm curious to see if you will make the cut, Scott answers. What if I'm not one of you? Sean asks, concerned. Then you die. F man, what did you think was going to happen? Scott answers. Are you effing kidding me? Sean asks. Disbelief overtakes Sean's features as he continues. There's no way you can be serious. How do you think we can party so hard all the time? We need to have something or someone to play with. Unfortunately, you wouldn't be the first to try to make the ranks and fail. If you do fail, take comfort in knowing that you won't be the last either, but knowing that you helped guide us on the right path in our mission should be comfort enough, Scott answers, as Sean grows concerned. What the F is wrong with you people? Sean asks with fear in his voice. Come on, Sean. You know that we wouldn't kill you right away. F, man. I would take you on as my bride first, and then when I grow bored of you, I will take care of you and take you out of this world once and for all, Scott answers with a sinister laugh. Not knowing if he should take this conversation with Scott seriously, Sean worries that this isn't just bullcrapping between the guys, and that they will indeed try to test him out to ensure that he's not weak or wouldn't pull them in or put them in danger due to fear at an inopportune moment. Willingly, Sean continues on with Scott to Kevin's house. As he knows he will get better answers from him than from Scott, who loves to instill fear and unpredictability in others as a way to keep them guessing. To Scott, life gets boring, and when it stays the same all the time, that's something that simply can't be allowed to happen. Knowing this, Sean tries to reassure himself that nothing will happen to him because he will pass the test, and this slight fear will mean nothing once that happens. But in the event of failure, he doesn't believe that Kevin would allow Scott to take him as a bride or cause him any harm, because Kevin saw something in him, and whatever it is might be the thing that saves him in the end, and that's what truly provides any real comfort to him. Trying to hold back the laughter, Scott continues to drive to Kevin's place. He knows that he's gotten inside of Sean's head, and in the event that he hasn't occupied any real estate inside of the head, and in the event that he hasn't occupied any real estate inside of that head, there are a few other stories he can share that will be sure to get my place. Will be sure to set Sean's mind ablaze, but it doesn't appear that that will be necessary because he can tell there's something troubling Sean after their conversation, and the only thing that can be done is to make sure that the momentum continues. He hopes that Kevin will play along with him because this has developed into an interesting game of cat and mouse between friends. It all depends on what mood Kevin is in. That will determine if he'll play along. There doesn't appear to be a reason why he wouldn't, as there are things that can take this game to an entirely new level, but the way it can be taken there is unprecedented. But he needs Kevin to be on board because without him, the game wouldn't be the same. What's the matter, Sean? Scott asks. Nothing, Sean answers. Do you believe in warlocks or destiny? Scott asks with a giggle. No, I don't believe in either to be true. The joke of it all is that I find it all to be bullcrap stories that people tell their children to scare and control them. I'm not to be controlled by that, Sean answers. Quite an interesting answer. I know you will I know you think you're smarter than me, but you know that when it comes to war games, I have a step up on you. You might be suffering from a broken heart or darkness in your heart, but so are we. This is our war game, and in the end, there appears to be multiple sides, and it's a matter of deciding which side to find yourself on. And that's not just something said to scare children or anyone who believes himself to be tougher than the world's deadliest creatures. It's a cold, hard fact, Scott says. You speak of so many things, and none of it makes sense to me. You try to force feed me into believing something that won't harm me or any of the other non-believers because God won't allow it, Sean answers. Well, we've been down this road before, and you know where Kev stands on the matter. But don't be a fool to believe that the way we do things won't include any torture, because you would be sadly mistaken. You saw what was done to Goddess, and she was someone whom I saw a lot of potential in, but Kev didn't, so she had to go. So if he views you the same way, there's no telling how you will encounter your demise, Scott says. I'm starting to believe that I'm just a big joke to you. I know you won't hurt me because there appears to be something that you guys want from me, but you sure as F don't mind playing with me. Well, I'm done being played with. I know that if it came down to a fight, I can hold my own, not only against you, but Kevin as well, Sean replies. I'm happy that you feel that confident, because you should have that confidence at an all-time high. You see, I don't intend to fight you, and it's not Kev's desire to fight you either. But it appears that you have made a choice, and one that won't sit well with Kev, yet it will be respected. And if we can't respect the choices of one another and can't follow the rules, there's nothing to separate us from all the other animals. So now I know what we have to do, and I'll be sure to let Kev know what needs to be done, Scott says. Are you saying that I'm going to die today? Sean asks, closing his right hand into a fist. Why are you so eager to die? Scott answers. Sean stubbornly keeps his mouth shut, eyes locked on Scott. Maybe you'll die today, maybe you won't. I'm not in charge of making that decision, but I can tell you that it will be delightful to see the outcome of what some might call a witch trial, because we would go all out and probably burn you at the stake, or maybe treat you like a vampire and put a stake through your heart. In reality, the possibilities are endless, and as how to bring someone to their demise, Scott adds. I'll be ready for whatever comes my way, but I won't allow you or anyone else to make me believe that I'm not worth my life. I had someone beat me down before, just like you two have, and I won't allow the people who were supposed to be by my side be the ones to try to break me. I simply won't allow it to happen, Sean replies, determination clear in his words. Entertained, Scott debates internally if he should stop toying with him, given that he does appear to be getting ready for a fight. And the last thing he needs is to arrive at Kevin's with Sean hot under the collar and putting them all in a bad mood. One thing about Scott that has to be known by now, though, is that the more unpredictable the day is, the more excited he becomes. And there appears to be no telling how far he will take things as long as he's entertained and happy. Being happy is one thing that brings chaos into a place where they have been trying to improve the negative energy as an entirely different beast. He's afraid that if he brings this madness into Kevin's house, there won't be anyone who will be safe from the rage that might explode inside of Kevin. And that's not a risk that should be taken. Yet he's tempted to see where the cards would lie if he were to take the gamble. Not sure what to make of it all, he's ready for a fight. Sean looks at Scott, who's done nothing but grin since they stopped talking. He can tell the wheels are spinning in Scott's head, because that grin is growing and becoming extremely sinister. Never having met anyone like Scott, Sean doesn't know what to think of him. The fact that he's dealing with the unknown makes it a little harder for him, and given that unpredictability and chaos aren't in his comfort zone, he's feeling amped up. The struggle inside of him is real. The fear is real, and as is the concern for what will happen when Scott stops grinning like a madman and decides to speak or act out what's inside of that sick and twisted head of his. There are things he wants to be in his life, but a victim of a demented a-hole definitely isn't one of them. Being unable to control one's fate is something that can bring the strongest of men to their knees. So he knows he needs to be strong and fight the long fight that waits in order to survive and save his soul. Well, crap, we're here, Scott says. Anything you want to say before we go inside? No, let's do this and see what happens, Sean answers as they walk toward the door. Before they can even get halfway to the door, Kevin opens it and steps out in the greatest of moods, smiling from ear to ear. This catches both Sean and Scott off guard. Sean didn't know what to expect, but Scott was expecting him to be more of a let's F with a new guy kind of mood. Yet it appears as though he's so wrapped up in Sandra that it has done away with all desire of toying with a new recruit. But then again, this new lease on life might inspire his inner beast to want to test Sean before they proceed with their plan. But only time will tell what Kevin will do, because at the moment it appears he's walking on air. Nothing will bring him down. Well, that's not entirely true. There's one thing that could bring him down, but if Scott plays that card, he might as well open the gates of hell himself and sit on the devil's horn, because that would be easier to deal with than the wrath that will be unleashed by Kevin. So he plays into the good mood and doesn't say a word. He looks over at Sean and mouths that if he wants to live, not to say anything that will ruin this for them. And it will be unbearable for them if Kevin's mood changes like the breeze. My brothers are home on this joyous of days, Kevin says, smiling. Well, you appear to be in a great mood. I guess things are finally looking up for you. And here you thought the world was going to end over something that no one has any control over. I'm glad to see the progress I've made, and there's still so much more to be achieved, Scott replies. I'm glad to see this because I was made aware that there are things that need to occur in order for me to be a brother for real, Sean says. Oh, yes, the final test. Don't worry about that right now. This is a moment of joy. You have found someone who makes you happy. This a-hole right here has 2 girls, and they know of each other, and they are okay with him doing whatever he wants. And I have my lovely Sandra. This is a day that will not be forgotten anytime soon, Kevin replies, laughing. So you're saying I won't be put through a final test? A concerned Sean asks. Oh no, you'll have your test. But it won't be today. You will experience what it's like to be one of us, and if you fail, that will be unfortunate because I do see big things in your future, Kevin answers. See? I told you there would be. I told you that you would have to be tested and that there will be consequences if you fail. I will claim you as a bride and you can be my number 3. Well, maybe I'll make you my number 1, my bottom B. That way I can give you all of my attention from the moment I get home to the moment right before I close my eyes at night. You truly are special, and I can't wait to pop that A of yours because as you know, a hole is a hole and every hole needs to be loved. I will love you tender and fierce, and boy, you won't know what hit you, Scott says, a faraway look in his eyes. Unfortunately, that's the way it goes. If you're in, you're all in, but if you fail, the reality is that you become his B. He will do whatever he sees fit with you until he gets tired of you, and then most likely he will decapitate you and F your head a little bit for a few days until it starts to smell from either his juices all over it or decomposition. Either way, he will just get rid of it just like you were nothing, Kevin adds. There's no way you guys can be serious. We have all been through something that changes our mindset, but we don't need to become animals and resort to doing things that go against our beliefs. I'm in as long as I don't have to do anything that will force me to change who I am as a whole. You guys mean a lot to me, and I want to offer some help. I just don't know how useful I'll really be. But if there's a possibility of me dying or being someone's bee, I don't think this is what I want going forward, Sean replies. Well, I guess the bad news is I guess the bad news will keep adding on for you now then, buddy. See, the thing is, we know where you live and everything else about you. So if you try to run, we will find you and destroy you without giving you a second chance. So don't mistake the happiness that you're seeing now for something that will be a permanent fixture on my personality, Kevin says. I don't think you would want us to go after you because we won't show you any mercy. And before I do anything else, it will be your butt that will experience the delight of being my bee. The difference is that if this is what it comes down to, I will videotape it and then send it to your mother so she can see that what her boy is up to nowadays, Scott adds. Don't bring my mother into this. I will not allow you to bring her into your sick world of bullcrap. If you want to fight, then let's do it. But if you won't be a dick and bring my mother into this shit, because that's when I will kill you without thinking about it, Sean replies through gritted teeth. Don't be so sensitive. No one is going to harm your mother, so no need to get your panties wet. Calm down before someone ends up getting hurt, Scott says. Okay, that's enough, you two. Sean, there won't be any tests for you to pass. We've been effing with you. We like you, and we would like to keep hanging out with you. You bring something different to the table, and that's all that matters. You need to remember that for so long, it's only been us, and when we allow someone else in, there will be a period in which that newcomer will get hazed. It doesn't mean that we don't like you. It's actually the complete opposite, and we just want to have some fun with you. Now, I want to stop the games here because I want to let you guys know that I will be disconnected from you until sometime next week because I'm going to take a much needed vacation with Sandra and have some fun for a little while, Kevin says. Do you want us to do anything when you're gone? Scott asks. Yep. Go F whatever the hell you guys want because when I get back there will be some reckoning on the horizon. I'm eager to see where we'll start and how far we'll go, Kevin answers, a new gleam in his eye. After making his intentions clear, Kevin waves goodbye to them and watches as they leave the property. He truly does want to spend this time getting ready for the trip instead of wasting it plotting on something that can wait until his return. Grabbing his phone, Kevin calls Sandra to ensure that everything is going according to plan, and in the event they will be running a little late or something were to arise, he wants to make sure they can figure out what to do without it affecting too much of their time together. Upon answering the phone, Sandra informs him that everything remains the same and that they will be leaving later on tonight and will be able to return next Thursday, having cleared it with her boss for the time off. Excited, Kevin hangs up the phone and focuses on the way things would go down upon his return because even though he's happy he's spending time with her, he's looking forward to returning home in a week to start the mission to take on the world. Okay, that's the end of chapter 10. Next will be chapter 11, Shadow of a Doubt. Okay, so until next time, I will see you guys later. But until then, please like, share, subscribe. It helps me. Keep saying it. Nobody does it. But leave a comment. I will reply. So you can talk about the book. You can talk about anything. I don't really care. Just talk. But regardless, like, share, subscribe, please, and have a wonderful day.